Have I got a story for you? This is our home.
Mind is set on overdrive.
So today I want to go into a few things in regards to Borderlands as it currently sits, and specifically Borderlands 1, but this can also be applied to the entire franchise as it sits right now. Even the games that I personally don't really like, but since Borderlands 1 is one of my personal favorites and I've been putting loads of hours into it recently, I want to talk about a couple of different things in regards to the game and how it plays today, how it's doing, and where we will likely see it in the future. Because no matter how you feel about this franchise as a whole, every single Borderlands game has seen player counts increase since December of 2024. This was of course where Borderlands 4 was properly revealed, and we're going to get into why this is so important, but if you haven't tried Borderlands 1 again, I'm going to talk about why you should, as well as why this is great for the franchise and specifically one of the GOATed games of all time, Borderlands 1. But like I said, no matter what your favorite game is in the franchise, whether it be Borderlands 3, the pre-sac, or even if you're like myself and you personally lean towards the second one, today we're going to talk about why Borderlands is damn beautiful.
The clock is laughing in my face.
So lately I've been grinding this Mordecai to max level, which is actually my first time doing so for a Mordecai, which feels pretty damn good as he was the only character in BL1 that I had yet to max out before. And not only during the sessions over the last few months have I really just took in the world and further fell in love with this gorgeous art style, but every time that I max out a character that I've been working on for quite some time, I feel some sense of accomplishment, a deeper appreciation for why I love the games that I continue to play. In this case, obviously, we're talking about Borderlands 1, but this could go for any game that you might return to. Replaying one of your favorite games of all time not only allows you to get a chance to experience and do things in the game that you haven't done in previous playthroughs, me getting my first Omega not long ago, and even this video right here where I farmed another pearl that I had never seen drop before. And if you really like BL1, you should definitely check out that video if you haven't, but those are just a couple of the bigger examples of first-time experiences that I've had in Borderlands just here lately. And this is coming from a player that's been playing for 15 years at this point. Yet still, every time that I return to Borderlands 1, I quite literally feel like Rick Grimes riding into Atlanta. Thinking about it on a broader scale than just myself, or even you just sitting there pondering on what you haven't done in this series yet, let's think about the majority of the player base for a moment. Collectively, the franchise has sold somewhere around 80 million copies, so if we're counting all the games, now how many of these players do you really think made it past level 50? And no matter what you thought when I said that, the truth of the matter is that a good chunk of people probably didn't get past it. I'd say a good 50%, and let's keep in mind this is on the high end here for being generous, are actually stepping past playthrough 2. I'd say another 15 to 20% probably stop playing the game before they beat it, or maybe after they beat the first playthrough, which leaves about 30% that actually make it to the end game and play a majority of the content. Now, how do I know this? Well, recently I've been poking my head around on the Xbox version for Borderlands 2, and I can not only confirm that the games are alive and well, but they are also seeing an influx of new and returning players, in which a lot of them do not play past level 50. And we could probably also assume that the PlayStation systems are also seeing the same thing as well, maybe even the Nintendo Switch. Now, why is this important? Well, those players that know that there's more to experience always have a chance to come back. And figuring that's basically everyone who's ever played, that leaves Borderlands in a unique position where there's so much replayability, you could probably just have a Borderlands 1 and 2, a hot wife, a couple of restaurants, set them all on a remote island, and you would manage to entertain yourself for an entire lifetime. Now, we also have to mention the winter and New Year sales, as those are also a reason why the games are seeing an increase in player counts. But come February, I will make an update and we will see if it falls off or if it stays increasing. But as it looks right now, Borderlands is currently on the upward trend. While that upward trend is rather small, it's not a large increase in players, nothing to really rave about or go crazy about. it's still some moderate growth to say the least, which is pretty cool to see. And as I mentioned earlier, this basically comes down to there being so much content in these games to the point where it is basically impossible to have done everything. The fact that 5, 10, going on 13, and 15-year-old games are still being delved into is fucking incredible. And do these games have their issues? You're damn right they do. But I've said this in a video before, and I'll say it again. Perfect does not exist. And to further illustrate that, people are flawed. And who makes video games? People. I mention this because yes, I'm speaking positively of a franchise that's rather in the dark at the moment. And I know there's inevitably going to be people down in the comments below that take offense to that by either dropping a dislike or just leaving their nasty thoughts in the comments below, calling me a moron, a dipshit, and so on and so forth, which is completely okay. I welcome everyone's thoughts and opinions around here, and if you think I'm wrong in saying that this franchise in general is a beautiful thing, then I'd love to know why down in the comments below. Or if you agree with me at all and you think that Borderlands is just as special as I do, also feel free to let me know why down below. Now, in terms of where these games are going in the future, when Borderlands 4 comes out, obviously we will see a big decrease to these games' player counts, and this is pretty much standard with any franchise. But once those players finish or get tired of the 4th game, they'll either migrate back to the classics or just simply move on to something else. As obviously every release in the franchise will spread the older game's player base thinner and thinner. And this eventually, in theory, will basically kill off Borderlands 1. And while it will never entirely die, just like the 2nd game, the player base will continue to gradually get smaller over time, which is unfortunately just one of the sad realities of modern gaming. An industry that moves so fast and has no time to look back, which is exactly why us fans hold our favorite games so close to us. Because no matter what happens, it'll never die to us. That's what's really important here today. The memories and all of the dopamine hits along the way. No matter what, there will always be people out there who will remember and appreciate this game. And hell, these games in general. Some younger gamers will go on to play Borderlands 4 as their first in the series, and they will inevitably go back and experience the originals for the first time. And I say that with absolute certainty. It's literally happened with every other game in the series. I truly believe that in 5 years' time, there will still be a community for Borderlands. While it's likely going to look drastically different from what it does today, my point is that it will still exist. And that's the one main thing that makes it so damn beautiful and has kept it alive for this long. It's you, the Borderlands community.